This is the book of Revelation, chapter 18. And after these things I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was lightened with his glory. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the great is fallen, and become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and the cage of every unclean and hateful bird. For all the nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. Verse 4, And I heard another voice from heaven saying, Come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues. For her sins have reached unto heaven, and Yahweh, by Yahushua, have remembered her iniquities. Verse 6, Reward her even as she rewarded you, and double unto her double according to her works. And in the cup which she hath filled to her double. Verse 7, How much she hath glorified herself and lived deliciously, so much torment and sorrow give her. For she saith in her heart, I sit a queen, am no widow, and shall see no sorrow. Verse 8, Therefore shall her plagues come in one day, death and mourning and famine, and she shall be utterly burnt with fire. For strong is the Lord Yahweh who judgeth her. I want to start off by giving all praise, honor, and glory. Kol halal Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushua, by Hashem Rachakadosh B'Gatam. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Ray Millstone, told me this truth. Peace and salutation to the Akim, around the four corners of the earth, pushing the truth with faith and sincerity, risking their lives and the freedom to do so. Shalom to the Akwati and the Akim out there listening and learning, Lord willing, it's an edifying video. Shalom to the Israelite foreigners scattered abroad in the land of the other nations, looking like the other nations was subscribing to this truth. To you, I say Shalom. This is the brother Yahweh Sop out of the GMS Cleveland Church, a fellow servant coming at you with another lesson through the spirit and power of Yahweh by Hashem Yahushua. And, through the spirit, the brother put up a news article, and I was going to do a lesson on it because the spirit moved me too. So I started with Revelation 18 because basically it's talking about this wicked-ass place, Babylon the Great. And how, basically that's why I told you in the, a verse about, the plagues that are coming, which we're in a plague right now, and the famine, but death and mourning and famine, and she shall be utterly burnt with fire. And that's going to be when those nations choose to, shoot ICBMs, intercontinental ballistic missiles on this place. They're going to be burnt, and they're going to burn this place with fire. Not just this place, because you got, pretty much all the nations. When these, nations actually get tired of this horror. Which I think they to the point of now. I was watching an article. I was going to do a video on that, but now that I'm speaking on it, I probably won't. But through the spirit, we'll see. Long story short, as an article it showed, China actually was blaming America for this pandemic. And that's why you got Trump sitting up there trying to, say, oh, yeah, China did it. But it's funny because China is not talking about, any new cases. Now, I don't trust them gooks either, but at the same time, that's the thing. Like I was telling people, they in cahoots with the devil, you know what I mean? Like, they talking about how Trump is sitting up here. I don't know for sure because I didn't read it. This is hearsay, but, they're saying Trump talking about, I don't think they understood what a trade war is. Like, we were at trade wars with China. So, China and America are not allies. They, they understand their relationship. They're making money off of each other. Anyhow, this is the article. I don't have too many scriptures, but bear with me for a second, Salakia. So this is a Newsweek article, and it says, Russia, world no longer trusts U.S. to lead. It's time others step in to stop blackmail and pressure. And that just goes into the point of, these nations are no longer trusting America. And that's why it tells you that these nations are going to basically shoot missiles on this place. It says Russia's top diplomat has argued that the world is losing faith in the United States as a global leader and that the international community has sought a more diverse approach to global decision making. So basically, they talking about they trying to come for that top spot, which is going to give America. And then it's funny because they got Trump up there looking stupid. At an annual address to Moscow's Diplomatic Academy, Russia Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov held on Friday a new geopolitical era marked by multipolarity, stating that the emergence of new centers of power to maintain stability in the world requires the search for a balance of interest and compromise. He said there was a shift in the center of global economic power to east from west. And that's why they said China is taking over. China is the next global power. But that's not true because at the end of the day, everybody jockeying for position. When, this Edomite, this Moabite, all of them, although, China, but they just as bad as the Edomite. Look at what they doing today. They part of the land that they was allotted. That how much pollution because they trying to just make money. You know what I mean? Because they following after the suit of the Edomite. I remember when they had the Olympics over there. You had Olympians over there. They had to wear masks and shit. It was kind of like the COVID-19 shit. Everybody wearing a fucking mask, looking stupid. So, but it's always funny. That's how you know this. Like, I was listening to some brothers, and it was amazing how the Most High downloaded the information to me because, you got multiple movies that show, like, China was, like, what was that fucking movie with Bruce Willis? Damn, I can't think of it, when he was, like, a hitman, and he basically, he waited for, like, they could send people from the future to the past. You couldn't go from the past to the future, but they could send people from the future to the past. And it was a guy from the future that went back to the past. He was a mob boss though, and the one guy, Bruce Willis, it showed him. You have to watch it, but I can't think of the name of it. It's on the tip of my tongue. But long story short, he was saying how he wanted to retire, and they paid him in silver. In that silver report, they show a snippet of the movie, and he was stacking his money, and they paid him in silver. Long story short, he was like, when I retire, I'm going to, he wanted to go somewhere, and the boss was like, nah. He's like, go to China. He like, I'm going to fucking such and such. He's like, I'm from the future. Go to China. So, like, this was already pre-set up. You get what I'm saying? At the end of the day, though, like I said, nobody's going to, the next kingdom to rule will be the Israelites because, basically all this is coming to a head now. You got all these countries in the Middle East now. That's why, they keep on talking about how America's going to lead the Middle East and they're going to withdraw their troops. I just read something today. They said they were going to withdraw them from certain places, but Iraq, they're not. It's not even going to be talked about. You know what I mean? They're never going to leave over there because that's going to be the valley of decision. The valley, Jehoshaphat, Yahweh Shaphat. Anyhow, it says, that's crazy. He said there was a shift in. I read all that for more review of Purple. It said there was a shift in. I read that where a liberal order marked by globalization was losing its attractiveness and is no more viewed as a perfect model for all. The United States can no longer single-handedly or with its closest allies resolve all issues in the global economy and world fair. And they're making them look real bad now that our economy is suffering. So I'm not surprised at this article because you got to remember, when you in a position of power and you got enemies, they attack when you weak. In order to artificially retain their dominance to regain indisputable position, they employ various methods of pressure and blackmail to coerce economically and through the use of information. Washington and Moscow rival superpowers during the decades-long Cold War have somewhat resumed their bout for global influence in the 21st century. President Russian President Vladimir Putin has set to restore and revamp his country's military and political posture, which were deeply damaged in the collapse of the Soviet Union, leaving the United States entirely unmatched. Despite President Donald Trump's promises of Dente, the U.S. has doubled down on sanctions and other measures designed to push back against the Kremlin since the Republican leader entered the White House. Trump and Putin, once seen as potential political allies, have continued to feud over conflicts in Ukraine, and Syria, and at times have both found themselves largely isolated internationally. And that's the spirit, because to show you the bullshit it is, like, we in the midst of a coronavirus, right? This pandemic that's we supposed to be the biggest country having the issue with this pandemic, right? Yet and still, throughout the midst of this shit, right, they found the time to actually bring up charges against Maduro, a president of South America. How the fuck, if you worried about this shit that's supposed to be so contagious and just, oh my God, it's devastating, killing all our population, you know what I mean? You found time to actually put a bounty up on a man. You know, the same man, by the way, that Russia actually helped. You know, America wanted to send aid. He said, we don't want your shit. You know what I mean? Because America is not the place you think it is, man. The Trump administration has repeatedly threatened sanctions against several nations, including allies, for not adhering to its policies targeting stated foes such as, that's the spirit, because it wasn't South America, it's Venezuela, which is in South America. Iran, North Korea, Syria, and Venezuela. And I'm going to give you one piece of information if you don't know why America hates those four nations, Iran, North Korea, Syria, and Venezuela, is because none of them have a central bank. While Moscow has complained about what it saw as Washington's hegemony around the world, the Trump administration has named Russia as an adversary in critical strategy documents, most recently in 2019's Missile Defense Review. As Russia worked toward building new nuclear-capable hypersonic and cruise missiles, the U.S. scrambled to build new defense capable of intercepting them even from space, which you can't. And at the end of the day, the United States tried to create some new missiles too, because they stockpiled a lot of missiles, but they hadn't had nothing new. Russia had been creating missiles since, you know, for the last, like, Putin is on that shit. So that's the point. Well, Salaki, I'm going to read this since it went into the ICBM. It said, in the latest drama, the two countries pulled out of the 1987 Intermediate Range Nuclear Forces Treaty, banning land-launched missiles ranging from 310 to 3,420 miles after the U.S. accused Russia of violating the agreement with the development of the Noviator A9M729 missile. Moscow counterclaimed that Washington was breaking the treaty by installing missile defenses that could allegedly also be used to attack from Eastern Europe. Now the two are struggling to find common ground and renewing a new strategic arms reduction treaty. This is a very long article, which I'm probably about to end. So at the end of the day, you see the big bully is America, and I mean the person that's that's standing up to him, the one country that's actually making the most noise and standing up against him is Russia. So if you want to read this article, I'm not going to put it in the description, but it's Newsweek article. I'm about to get this scripture, because this is all in the scripts, though. I'm probably going to end on this. This is Ezekiel 38, because this was prophesied. You know, it says, Ezekiel 38, verse 1, and the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal, and prophesy against him. And Gog is a name for, Russia. And say, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, behold, I am against thee, O Gog, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal. And I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring forth thee. So, they're going to turn them back because, like they said, before Putin came into power, Putin, the Soviet Union, like, I was just watching a video. Brother was like, Soviet Union got dismantled in like 91, and I was born in like 78, so I was young at the time, but I recall when all that took place. You had Gorbachev, and then Gorbachev made deals with fucking faggot ass I think it was Ronald Reagan. you know. And then, long story short, then you had Bush get in office, but then, like I said, like long story short, Russia, well, the Soviet Union, because you had all them countries basically break down, and but when with Russia, with Putin getting into office, Putin actually put it all back together, and that's what it means by turning them back, because it's turning them back in their old war spirit. You know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, them Russian Edomites, like Apostle Tahar, if you ever pay attention to him, he speaks on them Russian boxers. I actually worked around a Russian female, and don't get me wrong, Russian women like Jakes, but at the same time, them Russian men are built differently than they'll tell you like little shit that they be thinking Americans soft, and on a lot of shit they is. Like you ever go see a Russian prison, you think the worst prison here ain't got shit on the Russian prison. You know what I'm saying? Like real talk though. Ain't no fucking heat. You know what I mean? Like they be out that bitch freezing. Yeah. So, so my point being, he said, I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, meaning turn back to them to that old warlike spirit. And I will bring thee forth and all thine army, horses and horsemen, and all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords. Meaning they about to put them in that warlike state, ready to fuck up America. And who are they bucking up against the most? Like when the whole little situation happened with Iran, when they assassinated that general. I mean, it was all kind of tensions going on. You had Russian submarines meeting American submarines, literally like trying to, and if you paid attention to show you what type of character Putin got, Putin never said nothing. He just leaned back and he waiting, and that's a gangster play. Fuck a gangster. That's a like that a soldier. You know what I'm saying? Like real talk. So it's gonna be beautiful to see this place get humbled. You know what I mean? Because the word humble go back to humility. You know what I mean? That's why a lot of people don't know how to be humble. You know what I mean? This place is about to, like when these women start being fucked up, they already taking these government goodies, but yet still, you still got, like I said, only in America you can have a motherfucker on welfare getting everything taken care of for him, but still proud as fuck. I just literally had a bitch, she ain't putting in $1. I'm giving her money. She literally still talking shit. I'm like, damn, only in America. In another country, you could bash that bitch head in and nobody gonna say nothing. Verse 5, Persia, Ethiopia. You got countries where they rape women and send up there, yeah, I take 7 of them. They not going to look for them I'm not condoning raping nobody, but what I'm saying is, at the same time, I remember I was in this program with all kind of felons, women felons and men felons. And this one bitch that you thought was the most nigga, sometimes you be catching some women that actually know some shit. She literally was a nigga bitch, right? But she literally was like, at the same time, like, cause I found this video and I was playing, I made a video about it, literally showing you like in the Middle East how they still go by the ancient laws. You get caught stealing, or how they basically, a dude did something. I think he raped somebody, he did something, but they sick dogs on him. I think this was in Africa, in the land of Ham. They sick dogs on him and had him eat his, like bite his rod off. It was something, but then they had another one where they, like it was in the Middle East, they stoned a woman. You know what I mean? And she literally knew about that though. Like she like, yeah, in America, in other places you ain't getting away with what the shit that you get away with in America. That Statue of Liberty, they say ain't even a fucking woman. That's a man dressed in drag. And I could believe that shit too. Persia, Ethiopia, and Libya with them, all of them will shield and helmet. And them the other nations, you know what I'm saying? Gomer and all his bands, the house of Tergamor of the north quarters and all his bands, and many people with thee. So at the end of the day, you see like that's Russia along with the other nations, because at the end of the day it tells you that literally, these other nations, like I think that's in Revelations about, but that's talking about the EU and NATO and all that. Like they're gonna, I think it's Revelations 13. They're gonna actually shoot missiles on this place. But I mean, that's way longer than what I expected. At the end of the day, I just wanted to bring that article out because, like I said, at the end of the day, people getting tired of America's shit. Like I said, I got an article. I might do a video on it tomorrow, Lord willing. China literally say, shit, they did this. We didn't do this. They said America's military causes pandemic. And when you go and do the research, it is a patent on this coronavirus shit. So, Lord willing, this was an edifying video. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory. Call, hello, Allah, Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Ba'ashem, Rachakodesh, V'katam. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, taught me this truth. Peace and salutation to the Akim around the four corners of the earth, pushing the truth for favor and sincerity, risking the lives and the freedom to do so. Shalom to the Akwati and Akim out there listening and learning. Lord willing, was an edifying video. Shalom to the confusion of face. Salakia. Salakia, Salakia. Shalom to the Israelite foreigners scattered abroad in the land of the other nations, looking like the other nations, but subscribing to this truth. To you, I say shalom. Until next time, Lord willing, I come with another lesson. Shalom, shalom, and the Bible ball.